What's up, guys? Welcome to another mock draft on the channel. This is, we're going to do three mock drafts this week. One coming out today, obviously, one coming out tomorrow, and then one coming out on Thursday afternoon. This one is what we would do personally if we were the GMs of this team. Like we've been doing, I'm going to take odds. Oliver's going to take even so that we get to draft for our own teams. Tomorrow, we're going to have a fun Chaos Edition mock draft with just like a bunch of trades and random bullshit happening because why the fuck not? And then Thursday, we're going to do our predictions for what we think is going to happen. That one will be a little bit different because we'll just split and make each pick individually. But to start off for the Tennessee Titans, I think this one has been the most chalk from the beginning. Give me Cam Ward, quarterback Miami.
Very shocking pick there, Noah. I think you're frankly wrong. They're obviously going to go Will Campbell, but you know what? Fair enough, man.
You know what, Lil Cam? Hey, if what's his face? Eric Fisher was the first overall pick once upon a time. No problems with Will Campbell being the first overall pick.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Number two, I think we're going for basically like what I think they need, and the Browns need a whole lot, but wide receiver and cornerback are two things they really need. We're going Travis Hunter here.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, I think it's at this point, it looks like they're going to probably go Hunter. They got
hmm
Flacco, they got Pickett. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do.
I
Basically,
forgot. Oh, sorry.
they
I
basically
forgot that they
got
got Kenny Pickett.
that's true. Every quarterback they have on their team pretty much has played for every team in that division except the Bengals.
That's funny as shit. No, I think Travis Hunter makes a lot of sense to the Browns. I understand why they're getting him. I'm gonna be honest, a little bummed out because I really want Travis Hunter, like really badly. But
I mean, you're not going to be that bummed for that long.
no, I'm not gonna be bummed out for long. Um, because the New York Giants, and this is what I would do. This is also, precursor to Thursday. What I think will end up happening, kind of like the first two picks. Abdul Carter, Penn State. Um, Once again, I don't think Brian Dable goes to a frat in State College, Pennsylvania, unless he really, really likes Abdul Carter. And I know everybody's talking
Warren again,
about,
liberal. You're getting Tyler Warren,
bro, once I'd be very happy with Tyler Warren. That shit would be awesome in Madden.
dude.
I'd have a
That'd
great
be
time.
that'd be
Um,
very interesting offense.
but I think Abdul Carter makes a lot of sense with where the Giants are. We actually were top five in pressure rate last year as a defense, or sack rate, one of the two. But yeah, let's just throw Abdul Carter and have a nasty defensive line. The one guy that I do think there's real consideration for, is Mason Graham.
Oh, I can
Because
see that.
Mason Graham is a blue chip prospect, and we need interior D line help more than we need exterior. I just think Abdul Carter has the tools necessary to be like a top 10 pass rusher ever. And I think you can't pass on that type of generational talent.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like, and it's been what the Eagles have been doing for years. Just make what you're good at, just keep adding to that. Like offensive line, keep drafting offensive linemen in the first round, defensive linemen in the second round. Just like it works, just keep doing it. And the Giants defense is going to be pretty fucking good this year, I think. And why not improve it with Abdul Carter or hell, even a Mason Graham? It's going to be a very interesting draft for the Giants. In my opinion, you guys obviously have to go defense.
For sure. For sure.
Stowe for the Pats. At this point, I think they're going Will Campbell. I mean, that's where all the fire is coming from, or whatever it's called. I think they need an offensive lineman. I think Vrabel likes how gritty Campbell is, as well as that. I mean, he fills the need that they need. He's a great guy, great leader. He understands. Plus, I don't think Vrabel really gives too much of a shit about the arm lengths, if I'm being honest. So I don't think we need
Yeah,
to go crazy details. They need offensive line. He's probably the best lineman in this class.
100%. I think that he's the type of no nonsense guy that Mike Vrabel loves on his football team, and I think it's similar to the Joe Alt pick last year for Harbaugh in LA. It is a culture setting pick.
Yep.
For the Jags, something similar. I know Mason Graham is very much talked about.
Very chalk.
I'm gonna end up going with Tetaroa McMillan because once again, this isn't a predictive situation. This is what we would do. If I'm Liam Cohen and the young James Gladstone, the really young GM that they just got from the Rams, if you look at how the Rams were built, they drafted a lot of their offensive talent was homegrown, and then besides Aaron Donald, a lot of the defensive talent that ultimately ended up winning them the Super Bowl was free agent and trade acquisitions.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
You had guys like Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, couple other pieces here and there. They did hit on a lot of late round picks defensively, but historically the Rams have used a lot of first round picks on offensive players until last year really, where they really needed to use those picks defensively. The Jags have a pretty good defensive infrastructure. I think it just has lacked like good coaching and the offense has held them out to dry, but they have some really good players defensively. Mason Graham would be awesome for them. But Tetaroa McMillan gives you your Mike Evans in this offense. You already have Brian Thomas, you have Tanks Bigsby and Travis Etienne, you caught Evan Engram. You'll figure out tight end,
You'll figure
but
it out, man. You'll figure
you'll
it out.
figure it out.
Probably the
But
best tight end class in the last 10 years.
that gives you, I think Tetaroa McMillan gives you that pass catching option because Christian Kirk is going into the last year of his deal. The Gabe Davis contract is probably getting off the books immediately after this season because that shit was bad. Um, and I think Tetaroa McMillan gives you the best chance to, Trevor Lawrence put up numbers and win games.
Go get you Mike Evans. I totally respect it. I like the move right there. So for Vegas, I think the obvious pick right now, I think, is Ashton Genty. I mean, they need that running back, and it's a what's his name, Pete Carroll offense. They love having that elite back. It works for them. It's an effective system. I'm not going that direction. I think Mason Graham is on the board. That defensive line is really bad. There's not many. I listen. I think it's going to be very interesting. Also, best player available. Don't get me wrong, Ashton's amazing, but I'd rather have an elite defensive end, not defensive end, but defensive tackle than an elite than an elite running back. I can go get myself an Amari and Hampton in the second rounds. I can get a Travion Henderson. I can get a Cam Scatterbu. Also, Scatterbu, 100% a Raiders pick right there. He's a Raider.
I think that's very similar to what they did last year. I know it's a different GM and head coach, but they had drafted Michael Mayer, but Brock Bowers was the best player available. They went Brock Bowers. So
Yep.
I can totally see them doing that. I think Pete Carroll has kind of preached that philosophy. I also think Mason Graham is a Pete Carroll guy,
Yeah.
100%. And also, the Tyree Wilson pick hasn't really worked out.
Damn
Um,
shame too. I liked him a lot coming out.
Yeah, Texas guy. And then, but like if your defensive line is Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, and Mason Graham,
That's pretty
you
fucking good.
once again we talk about the only reliable way to like beat these goated quarterbacks, right? Um, Mahomes, Rodgers, if you want to put Brady in that category, Brady,
Mr. Hypothetical.
not him yet. I'm talking about like you okay, you got your shot in, sir. But like you got to get pressure on them. That's how the Giants beat Rodgers and then Brady in 2012. That's how the
How the
Eagles just
Eagles beat Brady and Pat.
yup. Moral of the story, Tom Brady very beatable with just a little bit of pressure because he's a bum and a wimp. Um, but yeah, for the I love the Mason Graham pick for the Raiders. For the Jets at 7, once again, I think there's a variety of ways that they could go. Um, but I have them going with Armand
Mimbu.
Membu, sorry, the tackle
Dickhead.
from Missouri. I think that last year, Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses were the starting tackles for the Jets. Obviously not the best solution, but they draft Olu Fashanu in the first round last year. Now you draft Armand Membu. Those are two very young tackles with every physical trait that you want, who are very, developmental pieces, but still young and already have shown a lot of talent. I think that gives you your bookends on the line for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great pick. I mean, the dude is a stud. I mean, I think in my opinion, he's the best tackle in the draft because he's a tackle. I mean, and I love Campbell, but Campbell I think will end up at guard eventually. He could probably stay at tackle, but I mean, Mimbu's a stud. He's younger than the rest of the tackles too, which is just phenomenal. But moving on to Carolina, obviously their biggest need was edge. They need an edge rusher desperately. Just someone defensively. It doesn't matter who. But I look at this offense and I'm like, who the fuck do they have, right? That's why we're switching it up a little bit. What I think will be fun. I think Tyler Warren here. I think they need the blocking help. Our boy Bryce Bryce Young really needs another receiver. Why not go grab yourself one of the best tight ends in the last 3 years? Probably the number three best tight end coming out of the draft in the last 10 years. And I I think it works.
I didn't think that you'd go Tyler Warren. I love that pick so much. I think Bryce showed potential for how he could be, like
Hmm.
how good he can be. I think how you prevent a backslide is you get him more weaponry. Um, Adam Thielen is almost 40. Xavier Leggett is still very young. Tyler Warren, like from day one, will be your safety blanket, your chain mover on third down. Um, and just, you talked about it. He's an insane pass blocker and run blocker as well. Um, and just a good culture guy. And I think that phenomenal pick for them. The Saints at 9, probably the hardest team to draft for, in my opinion, because they could literally any position they draft would be helpful. Quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, tight end, edge rusher, interior defensive line, linebacker, corner, safety. Literally anything would be helpful for this team. Um, I don't know how Mickey Loomis still has a job, bro. Mickey Loomis has profited off of 2009 more than Barack Obama somehow.
Dude, this man
God
has
damn.
been in charge of the Saints longer, literally for 20 years almost at this point. I mean, Obama was just becoming president. We've had 4 presidents since this man has been GM of the Saints.
That's insane. But I think the biggest issue for this team is they can't get to the passer. Um, I saw this on another podcast. Carl Granderson or Curtis Granderson, whatever the fuck this man's name is going to get paid $18 million next year.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Oh
Shout
my
out
God.
Saints contracts. Cam Jordan is once again damn near 40. Give me Jalen Walker.
Oh, nice pick there. I think I am a big Jalen Walker guy. That's who it was either going to be Jalen Walker or Tyler Warren. But, I think obviously we want Tyler Warren. Jalen Walker's a fucking stud, though. I mean, dude is a baller.
He can play linebacker for you when he needs to. He can, get on the edge. Brandon Staley's the DC there now. Um, he, interesting character in NFL lore, Brandon Staley. Um, Shout out that Chargers game, versus the Jags in the playoffs. But yeah, I think Jalen Walker's a perfect fit for the Saints.
Yeah, Brandon Staley is a terrorist. I mean, he is on the FBI's most wanted list, especially in LA County and San Diego County. Um, but yeah, no, they desperately, desperately need defensive line help. I mean, goddamn, that team is old as shit. Chicago
And
Bears, come on, easiest pick in the draft. Ashton Genty. They're praying. Their prayers have been answered. We don't need to go into details, right?
not at all. Not at all. For the Niners, once again, a team kind of like the Saints. They could go a lot of ways. Unlike the Saints, they're probably not gonna pick this high again for a minute. And they need to. This is like when the Warriors had 2 lottery picks somehow, and
Yeah,
or
we
well,
fucked both of them up.
when they had their stretch of lottery picks and they fucked everything up. Um, I don't think the Niners do that. I can very easily see them going, Josh Simmons, Kelvin Banks. I can see them going with a corner. Um, I, I can see him going edge rusher. I'm gonna go Will Johnson.
Ooh.
I think he's your outside boundary corner. You lose Chardavius Ward, not even for like contract reasons or anything like that. Bro literally had PTSD from the city of San Francisco, um, which is completely fair given what him and his
No,
family
that's
went
fair.
through. He left, as he should. And I think Will Johnson is a blue chip guy. He did not have a great season last year, but the year that they won the championship, the he was a top five player on that defense easily. Probably top five on the
Yes.
team that year. Big part of why they won that national championship. And I think going to like a winning culture, Will Johnson with Rob Saleh as DC, because like I'm assuming Rob Saleh is gonna like learn why he liked to coach football again after he's out of the New York Jets. I think that is a great fit. I know you probably don't like it because you're a Niner hater. Because
Yeah.
they did
Oh.
bitch him out at Lincoln Financial Field. But yeah,
Hey,
I
what am I
think
pointing at, Noah?
sure,
You want to get a closer look at
bro.
that? Yeah, no.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, two-time
they
Super Bowl
have
champions.
300% more Super Bowl championships than you
Yeah,
do.
well, yeah, but by the way, a fact that I love to bring up the 49ers fans. Do you know that the 49ers have a longer Super Bowl drought than the Dallas Cowboys?
You know what? Based on the Niners for skating by because the Cowboys are so trash.
Hey, fucking men. Speaking of another trash franchise, the Dallas Cowboys. I am such a Cowboys hater that I can tell you every need this team has. I can confidently name, I think, every single player on this team. I fucking hate them that much. But the Cowboys need a lot of shit. So in this draft is what I personally think I would do. What I think they're going to do is I think they're going offensive line. Me and Noah just talked about this offline, but I think they're going offensive line. That offensive line is atrocious. They need a Zach Martin replacement. I'm not doing that though. I think Jerry Jones is mentally handicapped, right? Can we agree with that?
Yes.
And a pick that would make a lot of sense here would be a receiver, an edge rusher, a guard. He's going Omarion Hampton.
This
He's
is
going
not what
Omarion Hampton.
this is what you would do, not what Jerry would do.
I would also do this. I think he's going. Listen, what I would do, I want to ruin this franchise. Drafting a running back this early, no matter how good the running back is, Omarion Hampton's a phenomenal back, right? Does that make sense? Ruining the
I
franchise.
I guess so, Marion Hampton. The ultimate inside job.
I mean, to be fair as well, very deep offensive line class. There's a lot of offensive line help. You can grab that in the second rounds. You can grab a receiver in the second rounds. Oh, Martin Hampton's a fucking good ass back. Who will be
Yeah,
taken in the first round?
yeah,
I
but
think
it's such a weak running back class. You got to get one at 12.
I know, right? Now it's really weak. Well, no, I think there is a. Let me get into this. There are tiers to it. Ashton is number one, right? Can we agree with that?
Yes,
I don't think Omari and Hampton's that far from Ashton Genty.
I agree.
I don't think he's that far. And I think, unfortunately, a really good running back could fix a lot of the Cowboys' problems. And I think the Cowboys will go receiver round two. Unfortunately, I think Luther Burns probably falls to the second round. And if the Cowboys grab Omarion Hampton and Luther Burns, well, we're kind of fucked as a division.
We might be. We might be. Okay,
Um,
for the
yeah.
Dolphins. This is the guy that me and you have not talked about as much as we should have. This is a guy that we have slept on for some reason. Um, and I think he is going to be a top 15 pick at least. Um, and it fits a need for the Dolphins because they just lost their best defensive player to the New York Football Giants. Um,
Oh,
give
Malachi
me
Starks?
give me Nick Emenwari.
Whoa.
I think he's
Hold up.
I I think he's better than Malachi. He also had one of the greatest combine performances of all time, and the combine people will always go higher. Um, I think he has some things that he has to work on, but just pure athletic specimen wise, phenomenal. And he's only 21, so you can work on, better anticipation on certain things and stuff like that. but
That's
he has
wild.
all the tools to be a phenomenal defensive player.
I just disagree with that, man. I think Nick Immanwari is a great player. Don't get me wrong, just athletic freak, but I would take Malachi Starks here. I just prefer him at safety more than Immanwari. But that's a Dolphins pick right there, man. That is
It
a total Dolphins pick. I don't know how
I
it makes sense, but it is.
Also, personally, I now once again, there's no way of me knowing whether he is a good person that's gonna try and like, strive to be great in the NFL or he's gonna be Eric Flowers. There's no way of me knowing that. Um,
Mhm.
However,
I hope
21
so.
years old and that athletic profile, if there's even like 30% of like effort, you can make him a very, very good football player.
Exactly.
Um, And I think like, and once again, this is what we would do. I don't think the Dolphins actually do this. I think Malachi probably goes. I will always bet on the better athlete because I think it's a proven thing that the better athlete will probably be the better player at the end of the day. Um, Malachi Starks is phenomenal. He's also very young. He's also 21. Um, but I think Emin Worry might end up going higher.
That damn, I mean that's true. I mean, oh man. Moving on, I guess. Jesus. Um, the Colts. I mean, we're talking about need and what we would do. I want to build the best secondary in Indianapolis. I think they are one piece away from that. Give me another fucking safety, Malachi Starks. I think this is an underrated pick. Everyone's going tight end here, right? But if you were to go with the Malachi Starks, Travarius Ward, that other dude they have is pretty fucking good. That's a pretty fucking good secondary. That defensive line, I think, is ready to cook right now. That is going to be a sneaky good defense next year. That
And
Colts defense could be pretty fucking good.
And they have a phenomenal DC because the Bengals are stupid.
Yep.
Um, yeah, Malachi Starks, Cam Bynum, who they just got from Minnesota,
Hmm.
Tre'Davious Ward, Kenny Moore is already there. He's a really good slot corner. Um,
Yeah.
you have some younger corner options as well. I I love that pick, and I both
It's weird, right? But it makes sense. That could be
no,
a really, they could be a really good defense. I was thinking defensive line, obviously tight ends, but great tight end class. You can go later. Colston Loveland's phenomenal, but let me build the best defense in the division right now.
no, I agree
I
with
love
you.
well, okay, second best defense. But make CJ Stroud's life a living hell.
Oh,
Make
for
our
sure.
boy Trevor
Cam
Lawrence's life
Ward,
a living hell.
Cam Ward,
Cam Ward, exactly. Don't let these motherfuckers cannot throw on you.
exactly. Don't give them anything really. For the Falcons at 15. Once again, they could do a lot of things. But I think this is pretty straightforward for me at least. Give me gotta find him. Jesus Christ, where is he? Unless we already Nope, he's not already drafted. Sorry. I just can't find him because PFF is stupid. Give me Micah Williams, Georgia guy staying in Georgia. Um, I think when you look at the edge rusher class, it's very good. There's a lot of good prospects. But after Abdul Carter and Jalen Walker, I think Michael Williams is probably the third best prospect. Obviously, cool storyline keeping the Georgia guy in Georgia, but I also think he gives them something that they've been missing on the edge for the last decade since Wick Beasley had that one good year.
Yes, yes, I like that pick there. Also, I like that we're in agreement on Mike Green. I genuinely think Mike Green's going to fall in this draft. I don't
I
know
think,
where. Oh,
sorry.
no, I just think he's I just I mean the off the field issues. I feel those are we're underestimating them. And I love Mike Green as a prospect. I think in my opinion, I think a team like Carolina could totally take him. I don't think they will though. I think you'd rather have a better character person like a Jalen Walker or someone like that.
I agree. Can we take a break for 1 second?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find one thing. I I don't know where it went. It's okay.
What were you looking for?
My Apple TV remote, because I was gonna put the Knicks game on in the background on mute.
That's fair. That's very fair.
It's okay though. We will log in. What are we thinking for Arizona, sir?
Arizona, one of those teams that I've always had a bit of trouble drafting for. I mean, I keep getting stuck with them when we do our mock drafts. I think there's a lot of positions they can go. Obviously, that defense isn't great, but they have a defensive-minded head coach, and my PFF app has decided not to work. Never mind. Um, I think they're sticking with defense, but I think there's not many good guards on the board either. I think, honestly, I think you go Jahdae Barron here. I like the pick of Jahdae Barron. They already have a young corner who's pretty good. Very similar situation with the Colts, but that secondary is not nearly as good. Another person I could definitely see them going is a Walter Nolan. Just buff up that interior defensive line. I think Walter Nolan's going to go a lot higher than people think as
I
well.
agree.
I think he's a sneaky top 10 pick.
I agree for sure. Um, I also think that Jade Barron, I agree with you, perfect fit on that team. And also once again, someone that would fit in well with a gain in defense. For the Bengals, give me Walter Nolan. We just talked about him. They need interior defensive line help. They've been going with like 1 year, 2 year deal guys. BJ Hill has been very good. I still don't know why the Giants traded him away for Billy Price. Um, but I think Walter Nolan makes a lot of sense. You're probably gonna lose Trey Hendrickson. He does not seem happy to be there at all. Um, I think Walter Nolan is a great player. Would fit in great on like a win now team. He'd be ready to go in his role. Um, and you kind of have to rebuild that defensive identity, and I think he gets you started on that.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick right there. I mean, whatever the fuck the Bengals are doing defensively is just so stupid, and you just need all the help you can possibly get. I
Exactly.
mean, okay, Seattle. What we will do, what I would do. I'm sorry, I know this isn't going to happen, but guess what? Their their GM, John Schneider, mentally handicapped. So we're going to go best offensive lineman available. Woo! Kevin Banks, congratulations. You are a Seahawk. You can
Where are you?
put him at tackle, slide him over the guard. He can play a lot.
I think that's a perfect guy for them because he'd probably start at guard. But when one of the tackles gets hurt, as they always do, he can just slide out
Inevitably.
and exactly. I love that pick for them. For the Bucks, another really interesting team to pick for. Their offense, in spite of losing Chris Godwin, Mike Evans dealing with injuries, stuff like that, their offense looked pretty good most of the season. Their defense had its ups and downs. Like you would think that with some of the names that you have on that defense, um, that you'd put up great numbers and you'd have a great time. However, they like literally signed Shaq Barrett at the start of the playoffs, like because they were desperate for edge rushing help. And Shaq Barrett, Tampa Bay legend, won a Super Bowl with them, won a huge part of that Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
But just someone that you don't want to be relying on this version of Shaq Barrett in the playoffs. So
No.
give me James Pierce Jr.
Oh, James Pierce. I mean, that's a very interesting move. I feel like Todd Bowles would fucking whip his ass into shape. Just
Exactly.
no attitude. I think Todd Bowles is a very smart person for him. I
I
mean,
think. Oh,
that's a good pick.
you want to know what's really funny?
What?
Guess who his PFF player comp is?
Who?
Randy Gregory.
Oh, I can
Remember,
see it.
remember when the Broncos signed him to like an $80 million deal?
I remember making fun of my Cowboys friends for that. I thought that was very funny, and I was like, "Oh my God, the Broncos could actually be good." No, the Broncos were not good.
Nope, not at all. Oh, speaking of
Um,
the Broncos,
Speaking of the Broncos, I think they need a lot of shit. Not really. They want to make their quarterbacks' lives as easy as possible. I mean, ideally, you know what I think would have been a perfect pick here? I think Tanner McMillan would have been perfect in the spot. Just a big body receiver make our boys' life easy. Um,
I disagree with that.
Really? How
I would
so?
be because they have Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, but he's no Tedero McMillan.
I think they're I legitimately my player comp for Tetaroa, like ceiling would be Mike Evans. Baseline would be Cortland Sutton, who is very underrated. But sorry to interrupt. I like the thought process of where you're
No,
going.
that's fair. I'm going receiver for them, and I'm going to go, in my opinion, the best receiver on the board. He hasn't been getting all the love that he deserves. We're going Luther Burden here.
Knew
I
it.
think Luther Burden is. I made this point to you. I genuinely think he's going to be offensive rookie of the year. That's how highly I think of him.
See, I don't think he'll be that insane. I think he's being massively underrated. He was not used well last year in at Mizzou. Um, 2 years ago
Militaris.
had a great college. Had a great season 2 years ago. Extremely good athlete. And I think it fits in well with Denver because you just signed Evan Ingram. You have a cadre of pretty decent running backs. I think if Amari and Hampton's here, they're taking Amari and Hampton. Um,
Oh, for sure.
but you have Cortland Sutton, and Luther Burden is the exact opposite type of receiver as Cortland Sutton. And that's kind of what you need for a good offense and for an offense to be successful. Is you kind of need like a mix and match of talents and the way people operate. For the Steelers, very straightforward pick for me. Give me Shador.
Yeah.
I think if anybody, we talked about this off camera, but if anybody can like perfectly manage Shador Sanders' like rookie season and like development and start, it's Mike Tomlin. I think he's probably one of the most emotionally intelligent coaches in the NFL. And I also think that Arthur Smith would be very good for his initial start in the NFL because from rip they can run a very similar offense to what the Titans did with Ryan Tannehill when Arthur Smith was there. I think Jalen Warren gives you a great running back. You added so much talent to that offensive line last year. George Pickens, DK Metcalf, a couple other random receivers here and there who always seem to show up for the Steelers. Pat Freiermuth. You have a defense that's ready to go win a championship. I don't know. I don't think this makes them Super Bowl contenders, but like this is the best
Not yet.
possible pathway for them to get back to that level again. And I
I agree.
think I think we're underrating Shador Sanders. I would like to say, not to, bring off the cuff things, and I know I do it too, but it makes me mad how we all kind of just assume off rip that Arch Manning is going to be this insanely good NFL prospect and we've barely seen him
Yes.
play. And
Yes.
Shador Sanders with very little to work with at Jackson State and at Colorado. He had good like talent, but if we talk about those offensive lines and like how much pressure he's under, how much time he had, he didn't really have much, and he made plays every single time, protected the football, very rarely cost his team. Literally, the only thing that I think he's done wrong in his college career was he got frustrated after the Nebraska game and like called out his offensive line, which he wasn't even wrong to do that.
No,
It's
he
just
wasn't
like
wrong.
you can't just do that as a quarterback. And I think that there's obviously one glaring difference between Shador Sanders and Arch Manning. Um, I think anybody with two active brain cells can figure out why they're being covered so
Yeah,
differently. Same thing with Bronny James. But yeah, I think Shador Sanders is a perfect fit for the Steelers.
I agree. I I'm an A&M fan. Unfortunately a Texas A&M fan and also a Texas hater. I think just covering more of the Arch stuff. I genuinely think Arch is a tad bit overrated at this point. Texas benefited. Texas benefited from having the easiest schedule in the SEC. Texas has not. They did not beat a single top 25 team, right? And not counting the playoffs. Even in those two playoff games, they should not have beaten Arizona. The refs helped them out.
For sure. For sure.
I mean, I think Arch is getting a lot of rightfully deserved credit, but too much.
No, I complete as a Manning family shill, I agree with you.
He is probably, in my opinion, the number 3 or 4 best quarterback in the SEC right now.
I
I
agree.
mean, I think Nussmeier. I think Nussmeier is going to be the number 1 pick next year. By the way,
Really?
I think Nussmeier is the best quarterback in the SEC. I think he's the best quarterback in college football. I think he's better
Interesting.
than Drew. Garrett Nussmeyer's a fucking dog. Also, I think that's who the Saints pick. I mean, they have his dad as the OC. Also, yeah,
I did not know that.
Garrett Nussmeier. He was our quarterbacks coach. He's the OC of the Saints.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
he's one of the most accurate passers in college football. Dude is a dog. But get back on topic. I mean, going with the Chargers, I think last year, Chargers going offensive line just saying screams to me, you're going trenches. You always want to go best player available in the trenches. And I think there are two players on the board right now. I think Jim Harbaugh are going to take both Michigan guys, Kenneth Graham or Colson Loveland. But I think they're going Kenneth Graham here. The position of need. He's a Michigan guy. Dude's a dog. And as we said earlier, the way you beat Patrick Mahomes, kill him and kill him. Just fucking get at his throat.
Exactly. And I
That's the
think
blueprint.
your edge rushers are getting old. You just lost Joey Bosa. I think Kenneth Grant is a phenomenal, phenomenal add to that team. The Packers are another extremely frustrating team to draft for because there'll be stuff that makes a little bit of sense, but they won't end up doing. And then I don't know, they're very interesting in the way that they draft. And it's extremely frustrating at times how they go about making decisions.
Hmm.
However, I think this is the team to pull the trigger. Give me Mike Green.
Yeah, they need that. They need that edge help. Mike Green, I think, is probably the most. He was the most productive edge edge master in college. I mean, dude's a dog.
Dude's a great
He needs
edger.
to a
He's
great
great at
edger. He needs
edging.
to learn to keep it in his pants. Um, Minnesota Vikings. I think a few positions they need. Obviously, interior defensive line, DB. But you know what? I have a narrative that I need to keep. And give your young, basically rookie quarterback as much help as you possibly can. Give me Travion Henderson. I think that's a move. You know, you don't have to. You get yourself an actual running back who can run the ball, who isn't ancient. It works.
I love that pick. I think I would like to point out I drafted Travion Henderson in the mock draft that we didn't end up posting, and you thought that I did something wild. So happy
Listen,
to see
man.
that you've come around on the vision. Um, Another team that if Omarion Hampton doesn't go to the Cowboys at 12 or Denver at 20, I can see the Vikings very much wanting him. Um, love the
Omarion
fit.
Hampton,
Love
Dallas
the
Cowboy.
fit.
You're gonna. It's gonna be Thursday night. We're gonna be watching the draft, me and you and Ian, and then Cowboys have made their pick. It's Omarion Hampton. All the Cowboys fans are gonna be like, I'm telling you, this is what Jerry does. He likes to psych people out and take who he thinks is the best player available.
That would be funny. All right. For Houston, once again, pretty straightforward pick. Josh Simmons.
Mm, dog. And this is a good pick too. It gives him time to recover from his injury. You don't have to throw him on the field immediately. As well as that, he's probably the best offensive tackle in the draft. If
Oh,
healthy, pure tackle, he's probably the best.
100%.
I think he actually probably edges out. No Mike Green, Will Campbell.
I agree. I agree. All right.
Uh Los Angeles Rams. You know, there's a lot of things you can go here. The Rams are a very interesting organization. There's a corner, but they got old ass Huckabee, whatever his name is. I don't remember. Their tight
Tyler
end.
Higbee.
Tyler Higbee, Tyler Huckabee. They're going Colston Loveland.
That's such a McWay pick.
It is.
That is such a McWay pick. I love it. I think you got Devontae, Puka, Tutu Atwell, some younger guys. You got Kyron Williams and Blake Corum at running back, and you add in Colston Loveland at tight end. That is insane. What are you doing? Is this a Goodwill
Um,
lightsaber?
this is the Goodwill Bins lightsaber. Yes. I also found the Book of Mormon at Goodwill.
So you have two copies now?
I have two copies now.
Nice. Remember when we were gonna buy you the fancy copy and you didn't let us?
It was $30. It
I
was $30.
For the Baltimore Ravens, give me Donovan Azivaraku.
Oh, brother, I
It's such a Baltimore pick.
no, it is.
But also 14 sacks last year. Pretty I think he's a pretty good player. I think he would fit in well on that team. Still super young, 21. Smaller guy, but I think you have
he's a dog.
he's a dog. I also kind of like Kyle Van Noy, who's their current starting outside linebacker. He's not the biggest guy either. Like he's always like I don't think Donovan's gonna fluctuate between linebacker and edge rusher like Kyle Van Noy did, but kind of similar body types and they've been successful because you got Nnamdi Madubuike in the middle
Mhm.
and he's a massive human. Um, I really like that pick for that.
No, I think that's such a Baltimore pick. I think it makes a lot of sense for them as well. For Detroit, I love going linebacker for Detroit because Detroit seems like a team that always takes linebackers in the first round. Give me Jahad Campbell. Just seems like a good pick. They need that help on the second level. I mean, it's a Detroit pick.
I like that pick a lot. I will say they have invested a lot into it. You know, you got Jack Campbell, you got Derek Barnes, some other younger pieces. Definitely still a position of need. I like I said, love the fit. I think he's a great player to have in there. Comes from a winning program. Um, he's a dog. I think Motor City Dan Campbell
Let
would.
it be said that's not the player who I think they would take, but we're gonna wait for that.
I think the guy that they take is Jack Sawyer.
I think that's Jack Sawyer, but there's a player on the board we're just waiting for.
I wonder who
Washington.
it is. I wonder who it is. Okay, for Washington, once again, a team that can do a million different things, but give me Trey Amos, corner from
Oh,
Mississippi.
love that. I love that. They need all the corner help they can
Now,
get. That secondary's ass.
so they tried drafting the corner in the first round from Mississippi State. That did not go over so well,
That's revisionist history too. Motherfuckers, the NFL supposedly loved Emmanuel Forbes.
supposedly.
Supposedly.
Didn't he go before Christian Gonzalez?
He did. He did.
That's insane.
Yeah, no, that didn't make sense at the time either. Um, Buffalo, they have a great offense. They have a great defense. Well, their defense is all right. I think their defense is not the best, but we're gonna do something off the board. Not many people have done. I want Josh Allen to have a number one receiver, an elite number one receiver. Matthew Golden, you're a fucking Bill.
Let's go. That's what I wanted you to do. That's what I wanted you to do. Let's go. Because I'm not gonna lie, I started freaking out a little bit because I was looking at the board and I'm like, how do we pigeonhole Matthew Gold into one of these teams? Because he is a first round pick.
He is
Um,
a first round pick.
he is a first round pick. No, I think great fit on Buffalo. Keon Coleman's great, but Matthew Golden is like your move the chain, big play.
Yep.
You got two jump ball receivers who play
Antonio Brown. He's your Antonio Brown-esque receiver.
with hopefully none of the off field shenanigans.
Amen.
Cause like, ugh. Oh,
Kansas City.
PFF's player comp of Matthew Golden, Stephon Diggs
Works out.
works out. Um, once again, pretty straightforward. Give me Josh Connerly Jr.
Josh Carnley Jr. Listen, the draft fell the way I wanted it to exactly. The
Who do you
Eagles
want?
get their top 10 pick.
Who do you want?
Shamar Stewart. You're a fucking Eagle. He doesn't need to start immediately. Shamar Stewart, if he, it will never happen. Oh, fuck. I shouldn't have pushed the button. Now I can't do another draft. Shamar Stewart on the Eagles just makes so much sense. It
It
will never
does.
happen, but let me believe.
I don't know. I think it might because some of the other no one's really talking about both A and M rushers that much.
Nick Scorin's going to be a second round pick. He'll be a Packer or some shit like that. They love their A&M players for some reason.
Nick
Eagles also
Scored.
love our A&M.
Nick
Nick
Scored
Scorin.
would be. I'm low-key very excited for day two. I think day two is going to be more fun than day one.
I think so as well. But I'm watching Star Wars Episode 3 Day 2 in theaters.
Nice. Nice.
Anakin Skywalker.
Didn't we just watch that the other day?
No, we watched Episode 1. Episode 1 sucked.
Episode one was I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the best time. It wasn't the best
Yeah,
time.
no. No, but like, listen, I'm a big Episode 1 kind of guy.
I
That
bet you
pod
are.
racing scene is really fucking long, though.
It is. But hey, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, stay tuned for other mock drafts on this channel. We're gonna try to cover all of our bases going into the draft on Thursday night. Super excited for it. See you tomorrow. Peace.